Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the May Tennessee One Health Committee meeting. For today's agenda, we'll be running through administrative updates. We'll give an opportunity for voting members or their delegates to share agency updates. We have an invited presentation about One Health harmful algal blooms in Tennessee, and then have public comment at the end of the meeting. So a couple of administrative update reminders. Meeting participation here at the One Health Committee meeting is limited to moderators, voting members or their delegates, invited speakers, and public commenters. Recording of the meeting and the meeting minutes will be posted online after the meeting. A reminder to voting members to abstain from discussing One Health Committee business with each other outside of this formal setting. And the future meeting dates and information about those meetings will be posted to the TDH calendar of events so that you can see those dates in advance. The first thing we'll actually do as part of this meeting with our 4 voting members who are present are address the December meeting minutes. So a draft of those meeting minutes was shared with voting members for their review. Members of our voting panel, so Allie Williamson, Austin Travis, Blair Beatty, and Grayson Carter are in attendance today. Can I open the floor to any additions or corrections to those meeting minutes from any voting member? And if none are needed, I'd invite a motion to accept the meeting minutes as written.
A motion to accept the meeting minutes as written.
Thank you, Grayson. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Blair.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and then we will do a roll call vote for this one. So Allie, yay or nay on accepting meeting minutes as written?
Yay.
Austin?
Yay.
Blair?
Yay.
Grayson?
Yay.
Thank you. All right. Well, then let's proceed with agency updates from here. So this is an opportunity for each of our voting members to share any pertinent human, animal, plant, or environmental health updates that might have interaction or connection with other agencies. We'll go through the agencies in the order listed here. Grayson, do you have any updates from the Tennessee Department of Health side of things?
I do not have any updates at this time.
Okay. Dr. Beatty is not on today from the Department of Agriculture, so I'll open it up to the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency. Austin, any updates?
Don't have any updates. We're not currently tracking any type of emergency diseases right now that we have open missions for.
Thank you, Austin. How about TWRA? Blair, any open responses or concerns that might impact other agencies?
Jane, the only thing that I have is in the notes from December's meeting, I shared that the commission was going to be voting on a new license to allow for baiting for deer. That rule has been adopted by the commission and has been filed. It is going to be effective in July of this year. We plan on having to present it in the June Government Operations Committee before the legislature, but if anyone is interested in seeing those, they're on the Secretary of State website, and I'm happy to, if they want to reach out to me or if I need to share them with anyone, I'm happy to do so.
Thank you, Blair. Anything from the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation? Allie?
Thank you. We do not have any updates this go around.
Awesome. Thanks, Allie. All right, well then with that, we will shift into our invited presentation. And today we're going to be hearing updates about harmful algal blooms. Jessica Rader, the harmful algal bloom lead from the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation, will be presenting to us today, and Amanda Goff from the Tennessee Department of Health will also be available for questions. So Jessica, you should have the ability to share your screen. I'll let you give that a shot, and if you have any trouble, please let me know, and I'm happy to help out. Jessica, are you able to unmute and are you able to share your screen? Looking promising here. There we go. We can see it in presenter mode if you want us to see it in a different mode. And I think you might be able to change the display settings at the top of your screen. Perfect. And then I still have you as muted. So whenever you are ready, let's make sure we can get your audio coming through as well.
Can you hear me now?
We've got you.
All right. Can you see my presentation?
We can see it.
Okay.
We also see it in like this developer
Okay.
view.
Let me change it again. Better?
Now it's in presenter view, but
I can change it again. Hold on. Better?
yes,
All
perfect.
right. Sorry, bear with me. I'm used to Teams and I haven't done WebEx in a while. But well, thanks for inviting me to talk about our harmful algal bloom response update for 2026. I think I did this back in March of 2025, and we've had some changes since then, so I'm excited to talk about them. So the first update I have for you is we have a new staff member at TDEC. Her name is Andrea Jakey. She's a PhD. She joins us from formerly with USGS Water Science Center. She has a background in phytoplankton dynamics and HABs. In addition to her other duties with the Watershed Planning Unit, she'll be supporting our HABs program with me and me and Amanda. And we'll be using her expertise and knowledge a great deal. So very happy to have her on staff. We have a new updated website, and this happened in March of this year. We went live with our TDEC HABs website, Harmful Algal Bloom Story Map, and I'm going to click on this link and hope that we go to the website. Can you guys see the website, or did we just stay on the...
We moved there. Yeah, we made it to the website.
Fantastic. So this is the website now. We have the our current HAB conditions in Tennessee, which is a dashboard. Tell me if we went there. Do you see the dashboard?
We do.
All right. So this is the dashboard. It is live. So when we get a harmful algal bloom report, we can post that on the dashboard. As you can see, we have our previous years, the number of harmful algal blooms reported, the number that have been confirmed. And then we have also our precautionary and no contact advisories that we have issued over the past years. So I'll go into more detail, but we have had some harmful algal blooms reported and some HABs confirmed already in 2026. But you can click on the dashboard and you can see what's going on. So the green is that it is safe, that it's not a harmful algal bloom currently. When we get a report, it'll be in gray until we decide or determine whether it is an actual bloom, a harmful algal bloom, or it could be a green algae or not a bloom. So it will be green if we know that it's safe. It'll be yellow if it's a precautionary. We don't know yet. And then red if it's a no contact advisory, and then gray when they've just been reported. But people can submit photos. They can submit information. So this was one that was recently reported by a community reporter in Casper Lake. They submitted some photos of the bloom that they saw, and they actually took it at night. So they're not great photos, but it did look concerning. So we did go ahead and respond and sample that one. But thankfully, the levels detected were very low. But it gives the public information so they can see in real time when we have harmful algal blooms reported. And this is a pretty cool system that whenever somebody submits something to this, it emails myself and it emails Amanda Goff in the watershed, the waterborne health unit at Department of Health. So everybody gets contacted when we get a report submitted. Sorry, I'm just gonna close that. Move my little thingy down, maybe. So I'll go back to the website. Can you see the website now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we do.
Okay, all right. So as we go down, we've got the dashboard and we also have the story map. So the story map gives you information about what blooms are and some pictures of blooms. Also, what blooms look like, the cyanobacteria microscopically. There's also a video, which is the CDC video about HABs and health. So folks can get on there and watch that. And then you got some visual guides about what a HAB looks like versus just a green algae bloom. So there's some examples of cyanobacteria blooms. We talk about both planktonic and benthic blooms, which those are new to Tennessee and we are starting to see more of. You can say, how do you tell if a bloom is harmful? And basically our catchphrase is when in doubt, stay out. So you kind of assume that they're harmful until you know otherwise, but there's some great visual identifying stuff that you can look to see what the difference is between regular old filamentous algae and then cyanobacteria blooms, which can potentially make toxins. And a lot of that we borrowed from other states. This one is from the California Water Board, but it's a really good information. And we also have some other guides for folks to use about freshwater cyanobacteria, how to identify those from USGS, as well as a field guide to pond scums, which was developed by Kentucky, and then some easy jar and stick tests that people that have ponds and things can do to evaluate whether they have a harmful bloom in their waters. In addition to that, we have the HAB report form, which is a survey-based 1, 2, 3 report form that the public can use to report harmful algal blooms. And then we have our field offices. If people don't want to use the report form, that they can call TDEC environmental field offices. We have our phone numbers and email, Ask TDEC email address on there as well. And then we have a link to Department of Health. So if we do have some health issues, that you can contact the Department of Health, CDEP folks for more information. We have the waterborne health at tn.gov website, the phone number on there as well. And then we also link back to the dashboard in the story map as well, and kind of show what a report looks like. Here's one from 2024 in Dixon Lake. It was a confirmed HAB. We did issue a precautionary advisory, and then we have the beginning and end date for that. They also have information about recreational use advisories, including the precautionary advisory. So when we have an algal bloom and we can kind of look at it visually and say it's probably cyanobacteria and it may be toxic, we issue a precautionary advisory. And then if we do testing, we can do a warning and no contact advisory when we know that the toxin levels are high enough to be adverse to health, human and animal health. So no contact advisory and then information on there for that. And then we have listings of the current year's precautionary advisories, and thankfully none this year contact advisories. And then we'll put the information about what was found there, including the begin date, the end date, the sample date, and the level of toxins that was detected. So that is our website, and we have our report form on there as well, and I'll kind of go through that again. It is survey-based 1, 2, 3. It sends an email to me, it sends an email to Amanda, as well as the Watershed Planning Unit and the Waterborne Health Unit email address, in case that we're out on vacation or something, somebody will get the notification. So there's really good information on there. That algae identification infographic is on there as well, so people can determine whether it's likely to be cyanobacteria or not. Good messaging. Well, you can enter the date that you see the HAB. You can enter the location by clicking on a map or entering lat long. You can put in the name of the water body where it's being affected. And then just some basic information about where the HAB is, if it's on the shoreline, if it's the main channel, if it's both, how large is the HAB, if it's small, if it's widespread, is it near a swimming area, is it a water body that's used for drinking water, is the water body accessible to the public, And then you can also upload photos of the HABs. And then also, is any person or animal sick? And then it will refer back to the Department of Health as well. And then it takes the information from the reporter to at least get the name and a phone number. Email address is optional, so people will do usually one or the other, and then submit their stuff. And then we kind of got a frequently asked questions section, and then some more resources that go back to UT Extension, CDC, and EPA. All right. Now back to the PowerPoint. So we kind of covered that. Am I advancing correctly? Do you still see the PowerPoint there?
Looks great.
Okay, awesome. So this is what we have seen so far in 2026. We had 9 algal bloom complaints received. Of those, we had 3 confirmed HABs. 4 of those reports are actually using our new form and were submitted by community reporters, so that's pretty exciting. On the top here, we have Beaver Lake in Shelby Farms Park in Memphis, and it is a cyanobacteria HAB. It is microcystis, and it did have low levels of microcystin detected. So we did issue a precautionary advisory for this one, but when the low levels came back, we lifted that precautionary advisory. We did have 1 human illness reported. The illness reported was determined not to be HAB related. A person said that they had aggravated asthma from basically the smell of decaying aquatic vegetation from a retention basin that they live close to. Photographic evidence showed that it was not actually cyanobacteria, but it was filamentous green algae that was dying off in the retention pond. So it was not attributed to a HAB-related illness. So this year, we are in a drought. This is the most recent drought monitor for Tennessee imagery. We're in a extreme drought in parts of the state, but a severe drought pretty much all over the state. Thankfully, we got some rain this week. Will hopefully help conditions, but we're going to see an increase in algal bloom reports when we have a drought because of the drought causes low flow conditions, stagnation, shallower water, warmer water, and more light penetration. So we're seeing an increase in algal bloom reports across the state. And it's typically this filamentous algae, which is either Cladophora or Spirogyra, that really just likes those conditions. This shallow, they like to live on the bottom. So when the water is this shallow, the light penetrates all the way to the bottom and it allows them to grow. So they're going to be pretty common occurrence this year until we get some more rainfall. An update on our HAB monitoring. We are partnering with Tennessee Tech Water Center. They are now offering a quantitative ELISA method for microcystin, anatoxin, and saxitoxin testing. So when we do quantitative analysis, we'll be using their lab because they're close and easy to get samples to. And I've also purchased some microcystin test kits for 8 TDEC field offices in Tennessee. And the kits can be used to screen for the most detected cyanotoxin in Tennessee, which is microcystin. And if we detect microcystin, we can then send a sample to Tennessee Tech for a quantitative analysis to evaluate risks to recreators and water supplies. We are prioritizing HAB complaints. So if we do have complaints in ponds that are not necessarily considered jurisdictional waters for TDEC, we're prioritizing those if any people or animals are ill. And if no illnesses are reported, we can advise and provide contact information for our Department of Agriculture watershed coordinators or the UT Ag Extension Service. And I'm working on a template for pond complaints to help assist the development of the watershed coordinators response and for UT Ag Extension. We want to prioritize responding to streams, rivers, lakes, and reservoirs where people are either drinking the water or are recreating in the water, or if there are any people or animals that are sick. So here's just some more infographics about telling the difference between the two. And we're trying to do more HAB awareness and outreach to the public. So Andrea, our new employee, developed these awareness signs, and we used them at some outreach events recently. So the first one kind of shows tiny algae, big problems, shows where we have had harmful algal blooms reported across the state, where we have had high levels of cyanotoxins detected versus low levels or none. And it kind of shows the difference between what you really want to be concerned about is the cyanobacteria bloom, which looks like spilled paint, versus just your regular filamentous algae. And then there's an example sign that shows what our signage would look like if we do post those at water bodies. And we actually partnered with Department of Health and Department of Agriculture at Zoo Day back in November of 2025. It was a very well attended event, and a fun time was had by all. We got to get the word out about harmful algal blooms. And most recently, we did a booth at Earth Day in Centennial Park in April of 2026, and it was also very well attended, and a lot of people were very interested. Andrea actually made a kind of hands-on activity where she showed what a harmful algal bloom could look like, and she used yarn to be the filamentous algae and some paint to look like the spilled paint, so people could kind of tell the difference between cyanobacteria blooms and non-toxic blooms. We have some more HABs awareness presentations coming up. We're going to do the Tennessee Aquarium Institute's Dace Day in Spring City on May 16th. I'm doing a small talk for Drinking Water Quality and Plant Operations Committee on May 29th, and then Drinking Water Operator Continuing Education Seminar on July 2nd. Another exciting thing that we have coming up is that we have a student who is going to be working on their internship for their master's in public health. They're an MTSU student, and they want to do something One Health related, so that's pretty cool. So they're going to do a One Health focused project aimed at improving HAB awareness and communication materials for both TDEC and Department of Health's HABs response program. So we're very excited to have her. She starts next week. And with that, I'd like to thank you all for everything that you do to protect human health and the environment, and reminding you to, when you're out recreating this summer, when you see green water, when in doubt, stay out. And that's it for me. Any questions?
Thank you, Jessica. Any questions from voting members or panelists? All right, well, Jessica, thank you so much for joining and for sharing more about the HAB response work that you've been doing. And Amanda, thank you for joining to also be available for questions. Really glad to see the communication expand and a lot of the work in Tennessee really grow. Hopefully not at the same time as HABs grow, but we'll see.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, we're gonna shift gears into public comment, but give me just one moment. All right, well then the last portion of our meeting is open for public comment. We had one request for public comment. And let's make sure that we can get folks prepared for that. All right, we had a request for public comment from Bernadette Pager, and this is your opportunity. So Bernadette, if you're able to unmute, please feel free to share your comment.
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
We've got you.
Okay, great, thank you. Good afternoon. Yes, my name is Bernadette Pager. Today's agenda focuses on harmful algal blooms, and I want to explain that we cannot meaningfully address that problem without addressing how we farm. Supporting regenerative agriculture is one of the most direct and proven tools that we have to stop algal blooms and many other environmental and health problems at their source. Industrial farming floods waterways with excess nutrients and pesticides that fuel algal blooms, toxic or not, starving aquatic life of oxygen, blocking sunlight, and collapsing entire ecosystems. Algal blooms don't appear out of nowhere. They are fed primarily by excess nitrogen and phosphorus washing off of conventionally farmed fields into our streams, rivers, and lakes. This is a farming problem before it is ever a water problem, and that means the fix has to start on the land. The crisis is made worse by two additional pressures from conventional agriculture. First, pesticides and herbicides applied at industrial scale don't stay on the field. They leach into groundwater, accumulate in aquatic ecosystems, and compound the toxicity already created by algal bloom events. Second, intensive tillage destroys soil structure, so degraded land can't absorb rainfall. Instead, it funnels runoff, nutrients, and chemicals straight into our waterways, making blooms more frequent and more severe. Regenerative farming, which includes cover cropping, reduced tillage, diverse rotations, integrated pest management, and managed grazing attacks this problem at the root. It rebuilds soil that holds water and filters nutrients, dramatically cutting the nitrogen and phosphorus loading that feeds algal blooms. Research consistently shows these practices can reduce nutrient runoff by 50% or more. If this committee is serious about protecting our waterways from harmful algal blooms, the path forward includes investing in the farmers who are willing to farm differently. Incentives, technical assistance, and policy reform for regenerative agriculture aren't just good for the land. They're the upstream solution to the downstream crisis of environmental and human health. I urge you to act. And before I go, I need to mention that adequate notice is not being given to the public about the date of One Health meetings. The webpage says that meetings will be posted 30 days in advance, but there is still no notice of this meeting on the website. And the sunshine notice from the Department of Health only went out April 30th, giving less than 1 day for signing up for public comment, since you require 7 days notice. That is likely why I am the only person who signed up to give public comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pager. Any comments, responses from our voting members? All right, then the last portion of our meeting is just to give a reminder about our 2026 meeting dates. So our upcoming dates for the 2026 meeting have been set. They will be on Monday, August 3rd at 10:30 and Tuesday, December 1st at 10:30. That information will be made available on the TDH calendar of events with information on how to join and also how to submit public comment. So with that, unless there are any other questions or comments from our voting members, we will wrap up. All right, well, thank you all for joining, and we will see you again in August.
Thank you.